Era. Starting from farming in the mountains. Introduction. At the age of 60, Lin Heng unexpectedly returned to the 1980s, where horses and carriages were slow, life was difficult, but his thoughts were pure. He has no lofty aspirations for a lifetime of rebirth, but only wants to make up for his regrets and live a happy life with his wife and children. And all of this starts with intercepting a big wolf dog and carrying a bow and arrow up the mountain to hunt. Chronological text. Chapter 1. Rebirth 1983. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Rebirth 1983 Lin Heng leaned against the large cabinet in the main room and his head was in chaos. Looking at the familiar yet unfamiliar father, mother, daughter-in-law, elder brother, and younger sister in front of me, I couldn't believe it. He pinched himself. Hush. Painful. At the same time, those distant memories in his mind began to replay one by one, making him remember them all at once. Unexpectedly, I was reborn in 1983, a time when my horse and carriage were slow, my thoughts were pure, and my life was only enough to love one person. Really reborn. Lin Heng couldn't help but burst into tears, realizing that the scenes he had dreamed of countless times had truly come true. Spanning a long span of 40 years, I was reborn from the age of 60 back to the year I was 20. What's wrong with you? Are your eyes in scum? A crisp female voice sounded next to her, and a soft hand poked him. This person is none other than Lin Heng's wife Chen Shilan, a beautiful and gentle woman. She looked at Lin Heng with some confusion, thinking that his eyes had entered scum and wanted to come over and blow on him. It's nothing, my eyes are dirty. Lin Heng smiled and wiped away his tears, holding down his excited emotions. In his past life, he was known for being lazy, wandering around with his friends all day long. With a junior high school education, I feel like I'm amazing and always want to make big money. The result was that big money couldn't get it, small money didn't look up to it, and the family was poor and destitute. My wife worked hard every day, facing the yellow soil and facing the sky, farming to support the family. What's even worse is that he went to do business with someone in 1990 and was scammed into starting a company. As a result, his money was stolen by others, and he was burdened with a foreign debt of 50,000 yuan. In order to repay his debt, his father in his 40s had to work in a coal mine, but he never paid it back. My wife also died of illness a few years later due to overwork, and even my son and daughter did not recognize him. When he lost everything, he suddenly woke up and the prodigal son turned back. Starting from scratch, working diligently and studying hard, I gradually paid off my debts, and by the time I was in my 50s, I still had a net worth of 2 million. But he was not happy, constantly blaming and regretting himself. Unexpectedly, the heavens were willing to give him another chance to start over. Looking at these familiar people, Lin Heng made up his mind that in this life, he could never be such a jerk as in the previous one. He must lead a good life with his family and live happily. Second, the ginseng you dug is from my family's forest. I saw it a few years ago and feel like I haven't dug it yet. I don't want much either. If the ginseng is sold for half of the money, it can be considered a loss and won't hurt our brotherly bond. Lin Heng's eldest father, Lin Shuping, stood at the gate with an old lady, and said with a reasonable tone. Second, listen to Mom's words. Everyone can see you walking out of your big brother's forest. This ginseng will only be sold for half a person, your elder brother is not easy either. He not only needs to support me, but also needs to help 2 children and 3 grandchildren. It's not easy. Immediately after, Lin Shuping's wife, who was supporting her, trembled and spoke. Hearing this, neither Lin Heng's father, Lin Suan, nor his mother was angry. During holidays and festivals, she often takes good food and drinks. Whenever she speaks, the old lady only thinks of her eldest son and doesn't even consider him as her own son. Big brother, I dug this ginseng on Mount Taibai. When I come back, I'll walk through your forest and it'll be yours. To put it this way, if you take the money and walk through my house, isn't the money also mine? Lin Heng's father Lin Suan's angry eyes widened, and his older brother was simply shameless. Also, mother, what you're saying is, big brother is not easy, so we're easy. We don't have any children or grandchildren to help. Lin Heng's mother, Lu Hongmei, also said angrily, even though it's all her son, this old lady is only looking towards her eldest son. As soon as Lin's mother spoke, Lin Heng's eldest father's wife immediately spoke up. I can't afford the ginseng raised in my forest. Isn't it that you can still run away after digging? If you give me half, I'll let you take advantage of it. Don't be ignorant. Listening to the arguments outside, Lin Heng immediately remembered. That year, his father dug an old ginseng tree on Mount Taibai, a wild ginseng tree that had been around for 15 years. I don't know how his big father found out about it. To argue, we must split it in half, insisting that his father dug in his family's forest. His mother also came over to pull a skewer. Everything turned towards his big father, not even treating him as his own son. In the end, his father had no choice but to make things worse for the ancestors of the Lin family, so he had to share some of the money from selling ginseng with his father. That's a 15-year-old wild ginseng from Taibai Mountain, weighing a whopping 15 or 16 grams. You should know that in 2012, a 30 Taibai Mountain wild ginseng was auctioned off for a high price of 3 million yuan. Not to mention the year 2023 before his rebirth. Even now, in an era where workers earn 15 yuan per month and salt costs 1.51 jin. This wild ginseng can be sold for 400 to 500 yuan if taken out. Lin Heng immediately decided to take action, and he must not let his father take away the money. Their family is very harsh and sarcastic, giving them will only make them worse, without gratitude. Dad, do you want to be shameless? Also, Grandma, you've been looking at my big dad all day and he's been buying you a piece of clothing for years. Lin Heng walked out and started cursing. There was no need to keep his face because he knew his big dad's family was always bullying the weak and afraid of the hard. The more talkative you are, the more he feels that you are afraid of him, and only becomes more shameless and rude. Only when you are also rude and unreasonable, will he be afraid. Lin Shuping, the eldest father, was taken aback for a moment before roaring angrily, "Do you have the right to speak to me when I talk to your father?" His grandmother was also trembling with anger as she pointed at Lin Heng and said, "You unfilial descendant, just idle for a day. How do you talk to your elders?" Lin Heng sneered and picked up the nearby firewood knife, saying, "I'll leave my words here today. Whoever dares to be shameless, don't blame me for being reckless. Big brother, go and call the village chief, village branch secretary, 3 uncles, and all the people in the village to reason. I want to see how amazing you are." Lin Heng shouted to his older brother Lin Yu, who had been standing next to him without speaking. Upon hearing this, his elder brother did not leave, but instead looked at his wife and father. Lin's father looked at Lin Heng in surprise, pondered for 3 seconds, and then said to his eldest son Lin Yu, "Hurry up, I want to see who is right. The pit where I dug ginseng is still there. If someone is shameless, let's let everyone judge." "Okay, I'm going now." Lin Heng nodded and walked out. "I'll be with you," Lin's mother said, and we headed out together. "Wait a moment." Upon hearing the shout, Lin Heng's father felt a bit flustered. Why is it different today? He used to pull his mother over without any problems, but today it's not working. Well, it's hard for you to dig ginseng. Give me 1/3 of today's matter and forget about it. Dad looked at Lin Heng holding a curved knife and changed his mind. Lin Heng was a notorious scoundrel, fearless of heaven and earth, and he was a bit afraid. "No, I won't give you even a penny." Lin Heng shouted, "Let's wait and shout. Today, we need to see who's shameless." After speaking, Lin Heng sneered again and continued, "Dad, I'm afraid you ran over before you could dig a hole in the forest, right? When I go to the forest and see, there are no even pits. I'll see where your faces are. As soon as he said these words, his big dad and mom's faces were all flustered. They were really in a hurry and didn't even have time to dig a hole. I never thought about digging a pit, because in the past, making a scene like this would yield a lot of benefits. Zhaoshuyuan.com, I also heard what your mother said, so I'll go back and take a look. Maybe I made a mistake. At this moment, a hint of embarrassment appeared on his father's face. Yeah, let's go back and take a look. It's possible that Mom made a mistake, his aunt said with a smirk. At this point, they shifted the responsibility onto the old lady. No, I have to find someone to judge today, otherwise some faces won't be accepted. Lin Heng closed the gate of the yard directly and said excitedly, holding a firewood knife. This makes both his parents nervous, as the so-called horizontal ones are afraid of being stunned, and those who are stunned are afraid of not dying. Lin Heng put on a desperate posture, and they were really scared. Actually, it's mainly because I don't have any reason in my heart, otherwise I wouldn't feel guilty. Lin Heng, they are all our own people. We may have made a mistake and there's no need to spread it to the village. If everyone knows, won't they still lose face with our Lin family? His big dad smiled and spoke kind words, not as domineering as before. No, what if you go out and dig a pit to make trouble again? Lin Heng looked rude. Forget it, second in command, open the door and let your big dad and his team go. At this moment, Lin Heng's father waved his hand and said. Lin Heng's daughter Law Chen also walked up to pull Lin Heng and said, Dad said it all, just open the door. She was afraid that Lin Heng would really chop someone off, and it would be troublesome then. Lin Heng was just pretending, but after being pulled twice by his wife, he took 2 steps away. Let's go back and take a look. His parents immediately pulled the old lady out, afraid that Lin Heng would go crazy. Leave your words here today. If you dare to make trouble again, don't blame me for not taking this life. Lin Heng shouted angrily at the 3 of them. Chapter 2. I believe in you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. I believe in you, don't be afraid, my wife. I just scared them and won't really take action. Lin Heng grabbed his wife Chen Xiulan's hand and said with a smile. Looking at his wife's beautiful and rosy cheeks without makeup, Lin Heng felt warm in his heart. Even if she didn't work hard and even owed a lot of debt later on, she never despised herself and silently supported this family. Such a woman who silently pays and works tirelessly, she doesn't know that she has been blessed for several lifetimes, but in her previous life, she didn't cherish it at all. As soon as he thought of these, he wanted to slap himself a few times. In this life, nothing can be said to make her work so hard anymore. I need to work hard and make her live like a woman. Suddenly pulled down by Lin Heng in public, Chen Xiulan's cheeks turned red and she quickly broke free, saying, if not, it's good. Second, you're still a bit useful today. After Lin Heng's father and his family left, his father Lin Suan glanced at Lin Heng and said. My second son idles around all day, which makes him half angry. Today is still somewhat useful. Lin Heng looked at the man in front of him, who was in his 40s and had a yellow complexion and many grooves due to his constant work. He couldn't help but smile. Dad, I have come to realize that I will live a good life and support my family in the future. Father Lin Suan sneered when he heard this, you've said this more than 5 times. Which time did you persist for 3 days? Lin Heng. Upon closer inspection, Lu Hongmei's mother also had a disdainful expression on her face, as if his words were no different from farting. Upon careful consideration, Lin Heng remembered that he had often said the same thing in his previous life, that every time he persisted for less than 3 days, he would run out and fool around. This time it's true, you believe me, Lin Heng said solemnly. Can you go see if the dog can stop eating shit? Mother Lu Hongmei gave him a disdainful look. I believe you, hurry up and eat. After dinner, let's go pick up some mushrooms together. It just rained heavily yesterday. Chen Xilan looked at Lin Heng and said, I think as long as I treat him well, my husband will definitely settle down and live with me. Just like what he promised when he first got married. After speaking, she took her 1-year-old daughter in her arms and went to the kitchen to scoop rice for him. Mother Lu Hongmei couldn't help but shake her head when she saw this scene. She didn't know how much virtue Lin Heng had accumulated in his previous life to marry such a hard-working woman. If he were to leave someone else, he would have been locked out of the door long ago and would have been insulting every day. Dad, who are you planning to sell this ginseng to? At this moment, the older brother asked, and Lin Heng saw his sister. Law Lu Wan holding the baby and stabbing him in the back twice. Selling medicinal herbs to the Lu family in town is estimated to cost 400 yuan. Plus the little money saved over the years, and building 2 more houses, it's time for both of you to split up. Father Lin Suan glanced at his second son Lin Heng and eldest son Lin Yu. Previously, due to lack of money, we had to live together. Now that both sons have children, the house is a bit crowded and we have to split up to build a house. Upon hearing these words, sister. Law Lu Wan's eyes lit up, and her elder brother Lin Yu was also a bit excited. Of course, she was happy to live her own little life as a separate family. So, Dad, who are you planning to be with us? Sister-in-law Lu Wan whispered again. Separating families involves retirement, which is not an easy task. Sister-in-law Lu Wan's triangular eyes revealed excessive shrewdness. Dad, you see who you want us to provide for your retirement, just say so. Big brother Lin Yu ignored the warning from his wife Lu Wan's gaze and spoke up first, but he didn't even take on the task of elderly care. Come with me, I'll earn money to support you in your retirement. Lin Heng patted his chest and said. Do you want us to ask for food with you? Father retorted, but he still felt a little comfortable in his heart. Although he doesn't pursue his career, his second son still has a good heart and is not bad. His eldest son is also very filial, which is much stronger than his own elder brother Lin Shuping. When his 2 sons split up, he always shirked his desire to retire. Lin Suan felt very comfortable in his heart, as he had not raised 2 sons in vain. You don't need to take care of our elderly. Your mother and I are not yet 40 years old and can live on our own. If we split up, you can take care of yourself. Lin Suan shook his head and then said, the 1st and 3rd days of April are markets. I will go sell ginseng then. Dad, 400 yuan is too cheap. When I went to the city before, the pharmacy there collected such a large wild ginseng for at least 800 yuan. Lin Heng spoke up and said that those who purchase medicinal herbs in the town are bullying farmers who don't know the market and have made a big fortune. In this era, it is too difficult to go to the city once. There is no concrete road, and it takes 70.80 kilometers to walk on mountain roads. It takes 2 days to come back and forth. The news was so closed that many things were purchased by people in the town at random prices, and he only found out after entering the city several times later. Is it so expensive in the city? Lin's father was surprised and a little incredulous. Did you hear another fox friend talk about being drunk? Lin Heng said. Definitely not. I went back to the city a few months ago and saw the ginseng they collected at a state-owned pharmacy. There are still many things that are much more expensive than what we receive here. If you don't believe it, just go and sell it yourself, or if you don't want to go to the city, I can negotiate the price with the people in town. Lin Heng said again. Then let's go negotiate and give it a try. If you can't, go to the book garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com and take a look in the city. Lin's father thought for a moment and said. He has never been to the city and instinctively doesn't want to go there. The decision was made. Father Lin wrapped the ginseng in green moss, and Lin Heng also took a look. It was very intact, with all the roots and whiskers present, and the appearance was excellent. He shook his head. If this thing could be resold in 30 years, at least it would be nearly 1 million. Eating. My wife Chin Shilan handed him a large bowl of rice mixed with corn and potatoes. The dish was stir-fried shredded potatoes with sour and spicy seeds. In this era, rice is almost always mixed with potatoes, pumpkins, and corn kernels, and only those from well-off families can enjoy pure rice. Lin Heng walked over and looked at the almost oil-free food with some emotion. He took 2 bites and found it difficult to swallow. There's no way, my mouth has already been raised and my memory is full of big fish and meat. But he didn't speak, buried his head in eating, just thinking in his heart how to make his family live a good life. He was best at farming in his previous life, and the money he earned was from farming and orchards. He opened a modern farm at that time and was very familiar with orchard management and breeding operations, which was also the best approach. Especially now, it's 1983, which is a period of reform dividends. As long as you don't bury yourself in farming and do some business, you can make big money. After all, on the crest of the storm, even a pig can take off, and he also has modern planting and breeding techniques and experience from 2023. The only thing missing now is the first bucket of gold. We need to find a way to get a start-up fund so that we can start farming and open an orchard. What only worries him is that there is no quick way to make money in his memory. The fastest way is to go up the mountain to pick goods and hunt. Chapter 3. Farming cannot bring wealth, not even wealth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Farming cannot make money. You eat. I'll carry my daughter on my back to gather pigweed. After you finish eating, we'll go up the mountain to collect mushrooms. My wife Chin Shilan looked at Lin Heng and said, hoping that he wouldn't run out after eating. She carried her daughter on her back with a shoulder strap and carried a bamboo basket to fetch pig grass. Give me your daughter, I'll take it with me. It's too tiring for you to carry it. Lin Heng shook his head and put down his rice bowl, then walked over to pick up his daughter Lin Xiaoxia. Lin Xiaoxia was wearing a red cotton jacket with an open profile, and her face was flushed. She was used to carrying it on her back and didn't make much noise. Chen Shilan was a bit stunned. Why did her husband suddenly become strange today and show so much concern? He never hugged his daughter before, and even had some resentment. Take good care of her, she needs to be held. She's not very good at walking yet, so don't fall. I'll be back soon. Chen Shilan cautioned that she was afraid her husband might not take good care of her daughter. Don't worry, Lin Heng smiled and looked at his lovely daughter, Lin Heng, who couldn't help but touch her little face. She was laughing all over. In his previous life, he hardly ever took care of his daughter Xiaoxia, let alone had the money to send her to school. After his wife Chin Shilan passed away, his daughter no longer recognized him. He doesn't want to do this in his life anymore, he will start correcting from now on. Chin Shilan left with a bamboo basket, still feeling a bit unreal. Even though my husband used to say he wanted to support the family well, he hardly ever hugged his daughter, let alone had such a sincere smile. She only hopes that her husband can be a little more reliable this time, at least persist for a longer time, so that she can also be satisfied. Call Daddy. Lin Heng held his daughter while laughing and teasing her. Mom. Rice. Rice. However, the daughter only knew how to call her mother, revealing 2 small dimples with a smile. She opened her mouth to eat, and her hands and legs moved wildly in the air. Lin Heng knew that it was because he had never been close to her before, so he took a big bite and fed her a small one. Oh, even if the sun sets in the west, you can take care of the children, Lin's mother said in surprise when she saw this scene. Mom, can you stop being weird? I said I really reformed and lived a good life. Lin Heng said helplessly, his mother has too much opinion of him. Humph, if you really improve, then let's talk. Lin Mu glanced at him, completely incredulous. Lin Heng has disappointed people too many times. After speaking, Lin Mu took a hoe and went to the field. April was the busy farming season, and she had to tidy up the paddy field and prepare for transplanting seedlings. It just rained, it's a good time to plant sweet potatoes, and corn and soybeans can also be grown. Lin's father and big brother have already gone to work in the field. Lin Heng had no choice but to hold his daughter and walked out of the courtyard gate. Not far from the door is his vegetable garden, which covers an area of about 2 acres. Next to the vegetable garden is a wooden pigsty. A little pig weighing over 30 pounds inside saw someone coming and snorted, wanting food. The house of Lin Heng's family is located at the foot of the Qinling Mountains, which is relatively flat. There are other households in the village not far away. Every household in Fengshu village is built with their back against the Qinling Mountains, and the houses are all made of compacted loess. The wall is 40 centimeters thick, the skeleton is an oak tree with arms thick, and the roof is covered with bluestone slabs. This place is far from the city center. In this era, there was no electricity and kerosene lamps were still used. In Lin Heng's memory, he only delivered electricity next winter. The main reason is that a national road connecting the south will be built in Bay Village, 10 kilometers away, otherwise it may take 90 years for electricity to be connected. Why did you come? Chen Xiulan, who was digging pigsty in the field, saw Lin Heng walking over and asked curiously. Can't you hold it anymore? Come on, give it to me. She thought her husband couldn't hold the child anymore, so she patted the soil on her hand and reached out to hold it. No, I just came over to see if there's anything I can help with. Lin Heng shook his head, and his daughter Xiaoxia was amused by him in her arms, laughing uncontrollably. Chen Xiulan was a bit stunned when she saw this scene. Her husband actually took care of the children quite well. In the distance, the mother who was planting sweet potatoes saw Lin Heng and walked over, shouting, "Aren't you reformed? Give me the child and go and make a living." Lin Heng looked at his mother and obediently handed his daughter to her, then walked over to dig the ground. My mother is looking for him to find something to do at home. Lin Heng picked up a hoe and began to make a nest. His sister Law inserted the sweet potato vines and pressed them with her hand. Even if it was successful, the sweet potatoes were particularly easy to survive. It just rained, the land was loose, but it was still very tiring. After only working for half an hour, Lin Heng had beaten up 70.80 dens, and he was sweating profusely. Oh my, I'm too tired. Lin Heng sat down on the ridge, wiped his sweat with his sleeves, and sighed, farming is really not worth it. I can't earn much money all year long. His body is not suitable for work, and most importantly, he feels that farming is meaningless and it is really impossible for him to become wealthy. Many farmers in his father's generation believe in the belief that as long as they work diligently in farming, life will definitely improve. After 20 years, I was still farming and could only barely survive. It was too difficult for farmers. If you don't farm, why don't you drink the northwest wind? You know you're lazy all day. Look at your big brother, digging an acre of land doesn't even take your breath. Mother Lu Hongmei glanced at him, gave him the child, and went to make a nest herself. He knew his second son couldn't do it, but he also had to let him do it and let him calm down. Zhaosuiyuan.com. Otherwise, if we divide the family equally, we will all rely on our daughter. Law Xiulan and not exhaust her. Yeah, Lin Heng, you really need to work hard, otherwise if you split up, no one will help you, said Lu Wan, sister. Law, with a smile. She doesn't like Lin Heng. Her husband works hard to harvest the crops, and he idles around doing nothing, eating and drinking for free all day. Planting crops won't make me rich, I want to do something that can make me rich, Lin Heng responded with a smile. Humph, what have you made so rich after all these years? In the end, you're still relying on your family for food and drink. Upon hearing these words, Lu Hongmei's mother became extremely angry. Her second son, who had a high education, went to junior high school, but ended up being the most unprofessional. I have been graduating for 3 years, married for over 2 years, and haven't made any money. I still think about making big money all day. The sister-in-law also pursed her lips, not believing in this nonsense at all. She just felt hopeless for her younger sister Qinshilan. Marrying such a man would be difficult for her in this life. Wipe your sweat, give it to me, child. Qinshilan didn't comment on what Lin Heng said, handed over a handkerchief and carried her daughter over. The handkerchief had turned white and had no fragrance. Lin Heng wiped his sweat and helped to pick up the pigsty. Mom, Shilan and I will go to the mountain to see if there are any bacteria, Lin Heng said to his mother. As long as you don't run away with your fox friends, it's okay. Mother said with a cold face, expressing her annoyance towards Lin Heng's friends. Lin Heng nodded to indicate that he knew and followed his wife towards home. In my mind, I keep recalling memories from my previous life, trying to find a quick way to earn my first bucket of gold. I remember. Suddenly, he showed a hint of surprise and remembered something. Chapter 4. My daughter-in-law is not allowed to suffer anymore. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. What do you remember? Qinshilan turned her head to look at him and asked. I remember there were morel mushrooms in that place. Lin Heng realized his mistake and quickly found an excuse. Then hurry up the hill to find it, don't let anyone else pick it. It's 89 cents per kilogram, Qinshilan nodded. Anything that can sell money is something she can't bear to eat. But in fact, what Lin Heng remembered was a dog. He remembered that in the past May, which was next month, someone picked up a 2-month-old wolf dog cub behind the school in the town. After the dog grew up, it was full of spirituality and seemed to understand human language. It earned a lot of money for a mountain driver surnamed Li in the town, searching for truffles and catching various prey such as foxes, sable, rabbits, and wild boars. Every time he went to the market and met people, he would always say that he was happy. Unfortunately, when the dog grew old, he was mercilessly sold to a dog dealer by that guy. Fortunately, after being reborn, my memory became very good, and I remembered such a small matter. Lin Heng decided to intercept the clever big wolf dog who, and then buy an air gun or bow and arrow to drive the mountain and hunt to earn the first bucket of gold. In his previous life, he became bored and joined the archery club to practice archery, even using an air gun. In the past 8 years, hunting has not been banned, and driving mountains is a good way to get rich. There are many ways to get rich that come to mind. I remember which land will be demolished later, where highways will be built in the future, where I can make money, and what items will increase in price in the future. But the problem is no money, no first bucket of gold. Knowing these things is useless. Unless he is willing to resell goods, selling goods across provinces in the past 2 years has also been very profitable, but Lin Heng is unwilling and does not want to leave his family. So I still decided to go hunting in the mountains and then take the path of farming. This can not only make me rich, but also avoid being separated from my family. When I have money, I can slowly start a big business without being in a hurry. He was reborn with a broad vision that this era did not possess. Take it slowly, there is no need to rush for success, as his wife and children are more important than his family. Let's go up the mountain. You just said there's morel fungus there. Qinshilan gave Lin Heng a small bamboo woven backpack, took the child from his arms, and looked at him with bright big eyes. Seeing that Lin Heng didn't move, she pushed again and said, What are you making such a fuss about? Lin Heng regained his senses and looked at his wife with a slight smile. It's nothing, I just found that the more you look, the better you look, he said. My wife Qinshilan has straight facial features and delicate eyebrows, which cannot be said to be absolutely beautiful, but she can definitely be called beautiful. At first glance, it may seem average, but the more you look, the more enduring and beautiful it becomes. Thinking of not cherishing anything in one's past life, it's truly a blessing that one doesn't know. Qinshilan felt embarrassed and turned her head, saying, I keep talking nonsense. Hurry up and go pick some mushrooms. But he felt a bit happy in his heart. Since getting married, Lin Heng has never said she looks good again. Lin Heng entered the room and took a curved knife. Before leaving, he saw the slingshot he had placed on the wall, which was a toy he had made before. I haven't encountered them in these years, and I spend all day wandering around the city with some friends I know in the village and town, neglecting my duties. After some thought, he picked it up and inserted it into his waist, then locked the door and threw the key in a fixed place outside the pile of firewood. He quickly caught up with his wife. At this moment, my wife had just walked to the front of the neighboring Lu family's courtyard when she was stopped by Lu's daughter.in-law Li Kaifeng to chat. Shilan, you have to go up the mountain with your child on your back. It's all so hard for you. Our family never allows me to do this. On the surface, Li Kaifeng is concerned about Qin Shilan, but in reality, she is showing off her sense of superiority. In this era, there are no entertainment facilities, and rural women are most fond of comparison. It's not heavy, I carry it quite well, Qin Shilan said lightly. At least my family doesn't go crazy with alcohol. Li Kaifeng tugged at her mouth and suddenly didn't want to speak. She knew that Qin Shilan was mocking her for being beaten by her husband. Shilan, you have a good eye. What do you think of the clothes I'm wearing? I just love that couple. Luckily, they beat a fox a few days ago and sold the skin to buy it for me. Li Kaifeng changed the topic and smiled as she talked about the striped red floral shirt she had just bought. The clothes are too expensive now. After talking for half a day, I still want them to not sell for less than 2 yuan. I said not to buy them, but my family still bought them for me in the end. Li Kaifeng couldn't even close her mouth, looking at Qin Shilan's patched clothes and feeling extremely happy. It's okay, it looks pretty good. I still have to go pick some mushrooms, let's not talk about it. Qin Shilan casually said before leaving. However, Lin Heng's voice came from behind. It's average. This dress is only sold for 1 yuan in the city, and it doesn't look good on you, Kaifeng. Li Kaifeng is very fat. Wearing these clothes, she looks like a flower hen and even gets angry with her daughter.in-law. Lin Heng can't bear it. This made Li Kaifeng instantly unhappy. She glanced at Lin Heng and joked, why don't you buy one for your Shilan? She must look good in it. He bought me something else to keep at home, Qin Shilan said and quickly pulled Lin Heng away. I'll go see what style you have another day. Qin Shilan has left, and Li Kaifeng is still in the dark behind. She knows that Qin Shilan can't afford to wear it, and it looks like a lie. What are you bothering her for? She will spread the word to everyone in the village the next day. Just hold on and it will pass. Qin Shilan looked at Lin Heng and said helplessly. The women in the village are all like this, she has long been accustomed to it. I'm not afraid, I'll buy you a better one someday, and you happen to have no clothes, Lin Heng smiled and said, I won't let my wife suffer any more injustice in this life. No need, a few items at home can still be repaired and worn, so I can save the money to buy necessities, Qin Shilan shook her head and said. Don't worry, our family will soon be rich. I will make money by looking for a book garden at www.zhaozhuyuan.com. You don't have to be so frugal, clothes are a necessity. Lin Heng promised. Also, don't you want to go back to your parents' house to see? I'll take you back this year for the Chinese New Year, Lin Heng continued. His wife Qin Shilan is not from Nanping County, but from neighboring Lushui County. Although both are from Taibai City, the two families are too far apart, so after marrying, Qin Shilan only returned to her mother's house once. After dividing her family in her previous life, she didn't even have the opportunity to return to her mother's family due to the heavy burden at home. Before passing away, he never returned to his mother's house more than 10 times, and every time he went, he borrowed money to eat. Often insulted by several older brothers, thinking she deserved it. She refused to obey and insisted on marrying Lin Heng. This later became a knot in Lin Heng's heart that could never be eliminated in his lifetime. I met Qin Shilan at the neighboring market in Lushui County, and she took her casual promises seriously. Despite family opposition, she married into her own family. As a result, he was unable to make her live a good life and endured a lifetime of hardship, to the point where he regretted and blamed himself for the rest of his life. Chen Xiulan turned her head to look at Lin Heng and felt that he was particularly considerate today. "I don't ask you to make a lot of money, as long as you can stay at home and live a good life with me," she said. This kind and simple woman's wishes are also so simple and simple. Lin Heng didn't know what to say, but felt that everything he said was light and airy. He took a breath and looked at her, saying, "My child, please memorize it for a while." I carried it. Chen Xiulan continued walking, looking around for the figure of the fungus. "I said I'll come, I'll come." "You've been carrying it long enough," Lin Heng insisted, walking over to pick up his daughter. Chen Xiulan glanced at him and reluctantly gave her daughter to him. Chapter 5. Going Up the Mountain with My Wife. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who? After only about 10 minutes of climbing the mountain, Lin Heng began to pant heavily. "Although my body is young, I often don't engage in childbirth. I can't even bear carrying my daughter, who weighs 20 pounds, up the mountain. On the other hand, my wife doesn't even breathe much while carrying her. Give it to me, you're sweating wet." Chen Xiulan felt helpless and a bit amused. Hee. Mom. Lin Xiaoxia, the daughter in the basket, grabbed Lin Heng's hair and played with it while also giggling foolishly. "No, just take a break and it will be fine, and it will arrive soon." Lin Heng found a stone and rested on it. The mountain here is not actually steep, it's just that he often didn't climb it. Chen Xiulan handed over a handkerchief and said, "Wipe your sweat. It's cold in the mountains, and sweating makes it easy to catch a cold." "I can't spare my hand, you wipe it for me," Lin Heng said with a smile. Chen Xiulan gave him a white glance. Although both hands were empty, she still walked over and carefully wiped Lin Heng's sweat. My wife wiped herself sweat, while Lin Heng looked at her face with a silly smile. This made Chen Xiulan feel a bit embarrassed, but fortunately there was no one in the mountains, so she wiped the sweat off Lin Heng's neck. "Let's go," Chen Xiulan said after resting for a while. After climbing a mountain, we arrived at the place. Nearby to the house were often chopped mixed forests, with few fungi. The trees on the mountain were tall and the forest was old, which gave rise to fungi. The forest in front of me is a mix of pine and oak forests. As soon as I entered, I saw many large red mushrooms, which are commonly referred to as the white stem of red umbrellas in later generations. They grow from spring to autumn and produce a lot of mushrooms. But in fact, most red mushrooms are non-toxic and have a good taste. It seems that no one has come to pick in this place yet. Look for pine fungus. Seeing no signs of anyone walking on the ground, Chen Xiulan was very happy and began to search everywhere. There are too many red mushrooms, they are not worth it. They are only harvested when there are no other mushrooms left. This season. Valuable mushrooms include mushrooms such as matsutake, morel, chicken oil mushroom, and shiitake mushrooms. Although the mushroom resources in Qinling are not as good as those in Yunnan, they are also not bad, and there has been a habit of eating them since ancient times. After walking a few steps, Lin Heng saw a pine mushroom, which is a common name here and its scientific name is pine milk mushroom. Orange-yellow color, thick flesh, and concentric circles on the cap of the fungus. The most obvious feature is that it turns blue-green after injury, also known as copper-green fungus. If he found one of these, there would be a patch. Soon, Lin Heng found dozens of them nearby and picked over 2 pounds at once. 2 cents per kilogram of wet goods collected at the market. If I looked for it again, it would be gone. Instead, I found 2 pretty good green mushrooms. Although they are green, they are actually a type of red mushroom. Mushrooms are like this, one by one. Just as Lin Heng was preparing to switch to another forest, a figure on the pine tree attracted him. A red-haired squirrel stood on a branch, foolishly looking at him, only 5 meters away, without any obstruction. Lin Heng carefully took out a slingshot from his waist and the round small stones he had picked up on the mountain road. He aimed at them and was about to launch when suddenly a sound came from behind. Wow! P. P. The daughter's sharp cry frightened the squirrel and it rushed to the top of the tree. Lin Heng said helplessly, "Dot." Putting down the backpack, Lin Heng found that his daughter had already wet her diaper and her pants were quite wet, crying uncontrollably. "You are really my thoughtful little cotton jacket." Lin Heng helplessly picked her up from the basket, took out the wet diaper and placed it on the nearby branch, patting her back to coax her not to cry. Wow! Wow! However, the more you coax them, the more they cry. Children are like this, crying whenever they say they cry, there is no reason at all. In no time, Chen Xiulan heard a voice rushing over and said, "Give it to me, the child is probably hungry." She was somewhat shocked to see her husband not getting angry because of his daughter's crying, but still trying to soothe the child there. Taking over her daughter, Chen Xiulan picked up her clothes and fed her milk. In this era, there was no milk powder, and many children were still weaned when they were 2 or 3 years old. Lin Heng looked at his wife's pale skin and felt very dazzled. Her young body was a bit hot and dry, and her wife's capital was really large, about the same as her daughter's head. It's not that she hasn't seen it before. Chen Xiulan blushed a bit, mainly because she was staring at Lin Heng with a seductive gaze. "Haha, who makes my daughter law so tempting?" Lin Heng chuckled and looked at his wife's backpack, which contained a pound of pine fungus. "There's too much rotting, otherwise we could pick 2 pounds, Chen Xiulan said with a regretful expression on her face. "Then take a break here and I'll take a look around," Lin Heng said as he looked at Xiulan. "Go ahead, pay attention to safety, be careful of snakes and bees," Chen Xiulan nodded and warned. Lin Heng poured the pine fungus on the ground and walked towards the mountain on the left, while his wife had just left on the right. After walking for over 1,000 meters, he didn't see any good bacteria and was ready to fold them back. The distant sound of rustling leaves startled him. Turning his head, he saw a gray squirrel on a stone 3 meters away. "So close, I'm sorry if I don't hit you." Lin Heng sighed in his heart and quietly took out a slingshot in his hand. After aiming, he shot it out with a swoop. With a snap, it hit the squirrel's head, and the poor gray squirrel twitched twice before dying. It seems that the accuracy is still good. Lin Heng was very satisfied. When looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com, the main reason was that it was too close. He hadn't touched this thing for a long time, so he was still a bit worried. He was grateful that he had specifically gone to the archery club to practice in his previous life, otherwise he wouldn't have had this precision. "It's over a pound, the skin can be sold for 3 or 4 yuan, and the meat is enough for a meal," Lin Heng grinned, marking his first harvest after being reborn. Putting the squirrel into the basket, Lin Heng continued to walk forward, feeling lucky today. Squirrels usually don't get so close to people, and they are mostly on trees with branches blocking them, making it difficult to hit. Chicken oil mushroom. Walking forward for several tens of meters, Lin Heng couldn't help but cheer. There were dozens of golden chicken oil mushrooms on both sides of the path. In his opinion, this fungus is even more delicious than pine fungus. It is golden, trumpet-shaped, and often has wavy edges. It is also more expensive than pine fungus. It costs 3 cents per kilogram wet, and can be sold for 5 or 6 cents per kilogram after drying. However, picking up a flower and tearing it open, Lin Heng suddenly became speechless and rotten. Sometimes he couldn't figure out how these insects were so fast, sometimes the newly emerged bacteria didn't arrive in half a day, and even the newly grown small bacteria all had worms. The speed is also too fast. Forget it, pick it up and feed it back to the pigs. Lin Heng shook his head, feeling it was too regrettable. I only picked up more than 30 of the good ones, which looked like 6 or 7 tails, while the bad ones weighed over a pound. Without a watch, he didn't know he had been walking in the woods for a long time, so he decided to go back and find his wife. Xiulan. Lin Heng shouted while searching for bacteria. Here, come here quickly, I've found something good. Not long after, Lin Heng heard his wife's reply, his voice tinged with excitement, as if he had discovered something good. Chapter 6. The meaning of life is the smiling face of wife. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. What is it? Lin Heng heard his wife's voice and hurried over. Look, isn't this a good thing? With such a big pile of mulberry tree yellow, it can sell for 80 cents per kilogram, at least 4 or 5 kilograms. Chen Xiulan pointed to a fallen wild mulberry tree and said, seeing that its not too thick trunk was covered in golden mulberry yellow. Sangwang is a woody fungus that, like Ganoderma lucidum and tree tongues, feels a bit like wood. Sangwang has a golden surface and wooden patterns on the back, but it has great medicinal value. It is definitely luck to discover it here, as it should have been exposed to sunlight long ago. Well. My daughter held a freshly picked mulberry yellow and handed it to Lin Heng unsteadily. She was just able to walk and couldn't walk steadily. Lin Heng quickly helped her up, afraid of falling. Unexpectedly, after handing a mulberry yellow to Lin Heng, she ran over and handed the second one over, still giggling foolishly, and her nose was bubbling up, still enjoying it tirelessly. It's really a good thing. It's estimated to weigh 5 or 6 pounds on this tree, and it's sold for 4 or 5 yuan. It's about the same as the gray squirrel I shot. Lin Heng nodded and shook the squirrel he had beaten out of his backpack with a smile. Did you hit the gray squirrel? Chen Xiulan opened her mouth wide, her face filled with shock. How did you do it? Of course it was hit with a slingshot. It should have been 2, and one was scared away by Xiaoxia, Lin Heng said as he lifted the squirrel to prevent his daughter, who was grabbing it randomly, from touching it. You hit the slingshot so accurately, why didn't you hunt before? Chen Xiulan's gaze was somewhat admiring, and her husband, who was not engaged in his work, actually had this method. These days, she can only eat some meat during festivals, but tonight she can eat it. She's a bit drooling. I used to think about making big money, but I didn't like these things. Now I regret it, Lin Heng said with a smile. In fact, his skills mainly came from the archery club before his rebirth. Before systematically learning archery later on, his slingshot was also inaccurate. Seeing his wife's joyful and admiring gaze, Lin Heng's heart was filled with joy and he felt that he had found the meaning of life. It's not poetry in distant places, nor is it the amount of money, but the smiling faces of wives and children. Go hunting more in the future. Xiulan put the collected mulberry yellow into her basket and walked over to take the squirrel to weigh it, her eyes shining. Lin Heng couldn't help but reach out and tease her messy hair, feeling the joy of being needed. Chen Xiulan was taken aback for a moment, seemingly stunned by Lin Heng's gentle actions, and then smiled again. Let's go down the mountain and go home. It's getting dark soon. Seeing that they hadn't picked much, the two of them actually climbed 2 large mountains and walked back and forth for an unknown amount of time. Okay. I'll carry Xiaoxia, you carry something. Lin Heng nodded. I'll carry my daughter on my back. If you encounter a squirrel again, you can hit it. Chen Xiulan didn't agree. Just now, she heard that a squirrel had run away and felt heartbroken for a while, but it was only 4 or 5 yuan. Lin Heng didn't argue either. It was easy to go down the mountain, and for his wife, it was already a common occurrence. After packing up their things, the two of them went down the mountain together. After a few steps, Chen Xiulan started chatting. The child's father. Change your name, Lin Heng shook his head. Chen Xiulan was puzzled. Call me husband. Lin Heng smiled and said, although the term husband has not yet become popular and is often used between young men and women, it was not until the 1990s that it gradually became popular and promoted, but he just wanted to hear it. Chen Xiulan was taken aback for a moment. She had only heard people in the city call her this title before, and after thinking about it, she didn't refuse. She spoke up, husband. After calling, she felt strange, but as long as Lin Heng was the same as today, she was willing to call anything. Huh, wife, you call me so nice, I'll call you that way in the future. Lin Heng smiled contentedly. Chen Xiulan continued, husband, what do you think of separating families? Separating families is not just about building and living separately, but also about dividing land, basic furniture, and so on. She wanted to see Lin Heng's ideas. I have already decided on this. Our family has 30 acres of land and 600 acres of mountains and forests. No matter how my father divides them, I have decided to take the Red Maple Mountain to the west of the village and the land at the foot of the mountain. Lin Heng said as he walked. Do you want it over there? Why? Chen Xiulan was a bit puzzled. The land in that area was not very fertile, and Hongfeng Mountain was also a mixed forest without big trees, which was not worth money. Lin Heng chose this place for two reasons. The first reason is that the village road will pass through here in the future. In 1996, there was also a large national road that was not far from there, making transportation convenient. The second point is that the terrain of Hongfeng Mountain is very gentle, with a slope of only 10.20 degrees. There is also a mountain stream next to it that will not stop flowing all year round, and it is not far from the Maple River in the distance. This is a good place to build farms and orchards. The third point is that population gathering areas far away from the village will not affect others. Another point is that the land and forests in other places are all one piece, a few acres here and a few acres there. But Hongfeng Mountain and the land below are all connected, so they can be directly surrounded in the future without worrying about others arguing. Compared to these advantages, Lin Heng believes that any lack of soil is acceptable. Because it's a whole area with water, it's very convenient for farming and building orchards. Lin Heng explained. Upon hearing that her husband was going to engage in farming, Chen Xiulan instinctively felt that building an orchard was somewhat unreliable. But on second thought, it was better than him going out without a trace all day, so he nodded and said, then you can choose this place. Shoo. At this moment, Lin Heng suddenly hissed and then put down his backpack, holding a slingshot and heading towards the left front cat. Chen Xiulan also became nervous. Looking in that direction, she saw a wild chicken foraging under a tree more than 10 meters away. Lin Heng couldn't move forward after walking 5 meters. There was a branch blocking him in front, and his big move would surely startle this wild chicken. But this is at least 8 or 9 meters apart, and he is not sure about the accuracy of the shot. He is also not sure about the power of the slingshot on his opponent, and his palms can't help but sweat. However, without hesitation, I found the best stone in my pocket and looked for it at Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. I raised my slingshot and aimed for 5 seconds, took a deep breath, and with a release of my hand, the stone flew out with a thud. Gada gada. The wild chicken startled with a whoosh, and just as Lin Heng and Chen Xiulan thought they had failed, it thumped down and ran around in all directions. I'm injured. Lin Hengduan understood the time and started chasing after him. One person and one chicken engaged in a thrilling chase, with Lin Heng chasing and shooting with a slingshot. In the distance, Lin Xiaoxia raised her small hand and cheered, oh! Oh! Chen Xiulan, on the other hand, was full of nervousness. This is a chicken. Although she has one at home, she is not willing to kill one a year and keeps it to lay eggs. In the blink of an eye, Lin Heng chased the wild chicken far away, and after a full 10 minutes, Lin Heng finally walked out of the forest. Chen Xiulan looked at her husband's hands and said, "Did you lose them?" "Yes, I'm really useless," Lin Heng said in disappointment. I don't blame you, slingshots don't work. That tree is too blocking the way, maybe there's still a chance. Chen Xiulan did not scold Lin Heng. She felt that although it was a pity, having a squirrel was enough. Her husband was already very skilled. I'm lying to you, your husband. How could I fail to take action? Look. Lin Heng laughed and took out a large gray pheasant from his back, weighing nearly 2 pounds per kilogram. This is what he likes the most about Chen Xiulan. Unlike other women in the village, she doesn't curse her husband at any time and is useless. She always makes a fuss and scolds the streets. Chen Xiulan is gentle and kind. Even if Lin Heng doesn't take his job seriously, she doesn't throw any insults. She cooks for him as usual, does laundry for him as usual, and persuades him softly. It was precisely because of this that after her death, Lin Heng felt guilty for a lifetime. Chapter 7. Dad, You Eat Earth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Xiulan couldn't help but smile, then gave Lin Heng a white look and said, You're so grown up, you still like this. Can you just say that your husband is not strong enough? Lin Heng Xiong said with a strong and spirited tone. Chen Xiulan looked at the wild chicken while nodding, amazing, amazing. Hee, you should reward me well that night. Lin Heng approached Hee and smiled. Chen Xiulan's face tightened as she shyly glared at him and said, You're already a father, you're still so indecent. It's only natural for me to crave my wife. Lin Heng held his head high and chest high. Chen Xiulan couldn't resist talking such explicit words, so she put the wild chicken in Lin Heng's backpack and walked quickly to the front. The two of them walked down the mountain, chatting and laughing. It was already dusk, and in an hour, it was completely dark. Xiulan, did you go up the mountain to collect mushrooms? Someone was talking to both of them not far away. Lin Heng turned his head and saw an old man in his 50s, with sparse hair, smiling at the two of him. Lin Heng remembered that this was a single man from their village who drove the mountain man Tian Baishan. He didn't farm much and relied on hunting and collecting mountain goods for a living. At this moment, he was holding a spotted dove in his hand and deliberately swayed it, afraid that no one would see it. Yes, Chen Xiulan nodded and casually said, not wanting to talk to this person. Tian Baishan looked at Xiulan and didn't want to talk to him. He then looked at Lin Heng and noticed the slingshot he was holding in his hand. He couldn't help but smile and said, Lin Heng, are you hunting with a slingshot? I'm sure I didn't get it, did I? He continued with a smile before waiting for Lin Heng to talk. Hunting is not as simple as you think, it's very knowledgeable. How about you ask Xiulan to cook 2 meals for me, pour me 2 glasses of wine, and I'll go up the mountain with you in the future. Tian Baishan said with a smile. This guy is a bachelor, and whenever he sees a woman, he wants to flirt. Every time he goes hunting, he shows off everywhere. I heard he has an affair with many women. Lin Heng sneered and walked over to block his wife, looking at him and saying, Forget it, I'm not interested. I'll play with my own. After speaking, he asked his wife to walk in front of him, and he walked behind to go home together. This old man is holding a hunting gun in his hand, and he is too lazy to get into conflict. After all, they haven't said anything flirting. Tian Baishan was taken aback for a moment, then caught up and said, You look down on the old man's hunting skills. Before he could finish speaking, his eyes suddenly caught sight of the wild chicken and gray squirrel in Lin Heng's backpack, and he was startled. Did you use a slingshot to shoot all of this? Hitting squirrels and pheasants with a slingshot seemed unbelievable to him. No, I was lucky to pick it up, Lin Heng said before leaving. Lin Heng's words left Tian Baishan speechless. Even if he picked up something, his body would be soft. What about fooling my old man? He knows how agile wild chickens and squirrels are. He must have fought it himself, Tian Laohan firmly believed. No wonder they are not interested in being with them. The rewards of holding a gun themselves are not as good as those of their slingshot. Is this just showing off in love? But he also felt that it might have been caught with a trap and didn't want to believe that this famous scoundrel was so powerful. I insist on showcasing my hunting skills to the old man another day. Tian felt despised and prepared to show Lin Heng his skills by making a big prey next time. And Lin Heng and his wife Chen Xiulan had already returned to the door. After leaving the forest, he even covered the prey with a few pieces of pigweed. Others only say that they have collected a little fungus, but he knows the truth that wealth is not exposed. There are many people in the village who are jealous, and they cannot see others being good. You go back first, I'll go to the restroom. After saying a word, Lin Heng put his backpack aside and let water go. Chen Xiulan returned to the yard, and her parents, eldest brother and sister-in-law, younger sister, and eldest brother's son and daughter had all returned. Father Lin Suan and elder brother Lin Yu are enjoying the cool breeze, sister-in-law Lu Wan, mother Lu Hongmei, and younger sister Lin Kaiyun are scraping potatoes for dinner. Seeing Chen Xiulan coming back alone, the sister-in-law couldn't help but smile and said, "Mom, it seems that my second brother didn't persist for a whole day this time and ran out to fool around again. Humph, I knew the dog couldn't change its habit of eating shit." Lin's mother was very unhappy. She thought she could hold on for a few days this time, but ended up running away. Father Lin Suan also shook his head in disappointment and said, "This scoundrel is really angry. I'll have to break his leg next time I come back. Dad, you should take care of it now. Look at Lin Yu. He works all day farming, but Lin Heng doesn't do anything. What should he do in the future?" Sister-in-law Lu Wan quickly complained, thinking to herself that Lin Heng was running well and that in the future, his family fortune would depend on his reputation. At that moment, Lin Heng finished using the restroom and walked in. He heard everything he had just said. "Isn't that right? There's basically no trust in this," Lin Heng said in silence. "Humph, I was wrong." Lin's mother glared at him and looked at her daughter-in-law Xiulan, feeling sorry. "To be honest with you and your mother," Lin Heng ran out for another afternoon and just came back. She knew that her second daughter-in-law had a soft and kind heart, and Lin Heng must have begged her again to collude in confessing. "No, he went up the mountain with me. He even shot a squirrel and a wild chicken with a slingshot today." Chen Xiulan shook her head and said with a smile, "Looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. What?" Lin's father Lin Suan stood up with disbelief as he listened. "He can hit squirrels and pheasants, and I'll eat yellow soil on the spot." Lin Heng's moral character is still unclear to him, it's simply impossible. "Are you sure you're not talking nonsense?" Lin Mu looked at her daughter-in-law Xiulan and asked, touching her head. It is obvious that no one in the family believes that Lin Heng has this ability unless the sun sets in the west. Come on, look for yourself." Lin Heng directly placed his backpack on the ground and confidently looked at the family. There was not even this basic trust between people anymore. As soon as everyone looked, they were immediately dumbfounded. They even mentioned and looked at each other, their eyes wide open, looking incredulous. Did second father fall for evil? Lin Wei, the son of big brother Lin Yu, suddenly spoke out. Not only him, but also everyone else has this idea, thinking that only Zhongxie is the most reasonable. You've just fallen for evil. Lin Heng angrily kicked his butt. "Dad, don't eat tonight, little sister. Go grab a bowl of yellow earth for Dad, and I'll give you Dad's portion tonight," Lin Heng joked. Little sister Caiyun's eyes lit up as she hadn't even started yet. Her nephew Lin Wei grabbed a handful of dirt and handed it to her grandfather Lin Suan, saying, "Grandpa, you eat dirt." Angry Lin Suan was about to pick up a stick and hit someone on the spot. "You two unfilial descendants. Sir, you said it yourself." Lin Wei jumped out and quickly hid behind Lin Heng, smiling. "Lin Heng, did you really do it yourself? Big brother Lin, you didn't believe it either." "That's right, it shouldn't be a dead thing picked up, right?" Don't eat bad people. Sister-in-law Lu Wan also nodded, not believing that Lin Heng could use a slingshot to knock down these two things. Chapter 8. No delivery. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. It was really Lin Heng who did it. As I saw with my own eyes, that wild chicken blood hasn't dried yet. Chen Xiulan quickly proved for her husband. Watch it, I'll only show it once. After Lin Heng finished speaking, he picked up a slingshot and shot at a fist-sized dried gourd hanging on the 5-meter exterior wall. With a loud bang, the gourd split into pieces. Everyone was shocked, and his father Lin Suan's face was full of disbelief. Has the sun really come out from the west? Are you sure it's not a stroke of evil? Mother Lu Hongmei also looked shocked. Humph, I used to just disdain earning these small amounts of money. When I was a child, I practiced slingshot hard. Lin Heng snorted and went to kill squirrels and wild chickens. Chen Xiulan's eyes were sparkling, and she felt that her husband was really handsome today, too elegant. Second dad, wait for me, I'll help you. His nephew Lin Wei hurriedly ran over. In his eyes, second dad is a divine person, and he must learn this slingshot technique himself. Lin Kaiyun, the younger sister, walked over to help her sister. Law Xiulan take care of her children. Second dad, why are you practicing so accurately? Please teach me. Lin Wei held Lin Heng's arm with a look of longing on his face. He couldn't believe how powerful he would be in the village if he had mastered this slingshot technique. When the time comes, won't those other kids have to kneel and worship under the plastic film? Do the daughters of the village head's family have to actively approach and kiss themselves? Lin Heng glanced at him and said, I need to boil water, I don't have time. I'll do it, second dad. Lin Wei took the kettle and started the fire to boil water. Lin Wei, who is mischievous all day long, doesn't know that he has fallen into the trap of working and is still fantasizing happily. Lin Heng lifted the squirrel and slowly peeled it with a knife. This piece of skin is worth 3 or 4 yuan. I couldn't help but be careless. Second dad, the water is boiling. As long as there is motivation, the bear child also has amazing potential. Lin Wei boiled the water in 10 minutes. Give it to me, I'll have the soup chicken. Lin's father, Lin Suan, took the kettle and poured it into a wooden bucket, adding some cold water, and the soup chicken plucked its feathers. Lin Wei didn't dare to disturb Lin Heng, standing on the side watching him work, waiting for Lin Heng to teach him. Dad, do you believe me now? Lin Heng looked at his father and asked with a smile. Lin's father glanced at him and said, if you can persist like this for a month, I'll pay you to buy a hunting gun. It is obvious that although Lin's father's attitude has changed, he still does not believe in Lin Heng's reformed lies. Although he didn't have the ability to hunt, he also knew that he would return empty-handed 10 times and have to run through the mountains. He felt that even if Lin Heng had good slingshot skills, he wouldn't be able to endure this hardship. I don't want a hunting rifle. You can buy me a bow then, don't go back on your word. Lin Heng chuckled, thinking that a local hunting rifle was too dangerous, and that bows and arrows were safer. He also used them better than guns. Regret that I am your son, Lin's father glared angrily. After finishing the topic, Lin's father said again, is it reliable that the ginseng you mentioned can be sold for 600 or 700 yuan? Of course, if it's not possible, let's go to the city and we can definitely sell it for 700 yuan, Lin Heng nodded and promised. That's good, Lin nodded and said as he opened the chicken's intestines and stomach. Today, your brother and I discussed where the new house should be located. What we mean is to dig up the over 1-acre vegetable garden outside and build a house. You two should be together, close enough to take care of each other. Sure, I don't mind. Lin Heng doesn't care about this. He doesn't have the money now, so let's build a house and plan it carefully when he has the money in the future. Brick houses are too expensive, let's still build earthen houses. When the time comes, it will be good to paint the house with plaster, Lin said again. The cost of transporting red bricks from the town to this place is at least 3 cents per brick. Even if only 10,000 bricks are used for a house, the total cost of 2 bricks is 600 yuan. But in fact, a house requires at least 150,000 to 20,000 red bricks, not including other materials, so the money is definitely not enough. And earthen walls are cheaper, only requiring manual labor. Loss is everywhere here, and when built, you can also afford to make some furniture and decorate the interior. Sure, anyway it's you who pays, you can make the decision, Lin Heng said with a smile. At this point, the squirrel's skin had already been peeled off. He made a circle with bamboo to stretch the squirrel's skin, otherwise it would shrink into a pile during the drying process. What does money mean? I'll give it to you, I'll decide. This is the place where you live for your whole life. Lin's father glared at him. What I mean is that the decision you made was quite good. Let's wait until we start to discuss the specifics. Lin Heng did not mention the idea of building his own in the future, because he knew that at this stage, his father would only mock him and not believe him. Upon hearing these words, Lin's father felt a little relieved and nodded, saying, "Then I'll just sell the ginseng the day after tomorrow. I'll go tell the village." Building a house this year only requires one notification and can be done without any approval process. Lin Heng nodded and took out the internal organs of the squirrel. These days, whether it's the internal organs of a wild chicken or a squirrel, they won't be thrown away. They have been cleaned and eaten by humans. For the poor farmers in this mountain village, every bit of meat is hard-won. Have all the meat been stir-fried? Lin Mu, who had received the meat, asked. After killing it, there were still over 2 pounds of meat, which made her feel a bit unreal. Of course, this weather will be bad tomorrow morning, Lin Hengdao said. Lin Heng said so, and Lin Mu went back to make it. Wild chicken meat and sour and spicy red onions were stir-fried together. Soon, the sour and spicy taste accompanied by the aroma of oil spread out, and the whole room was filled with saliva and stomach growls. Everyone hasn't had any meat or fish for at least a month, they are so greedy. The meal was quickly prepared. Squirrel meat was stir-fried with sour radish, wild chicken meat was stir-fried with sour and spicy seeds and red onions, and there was also a plate of 2 animals' internal organs stir-fried together with sour radish. Rural stir-fry cannot do without sour jars. Lin Heng, do you want to send some to your grandmother? Lin's father is still very filial, wanting to send some to the old lady whenever there is meat, even if it is heavily biased towards his older brother. But this meat belongs to Lin Heng, he needs to ask Lin Heng. If we don't give it away, we don't have enough to eat ourselves. Lin Heng refused directly, not all elderly people deserve filial piety, and his grandmother is one of them. Although she has 3 sons, everything is towards her eldest son. Whenever there is something good in his family and his third father's family, she comes over to give it back to her eldest son. Sometimes if it's not given, the old lady would sneak over and pick it up herself. Zhaozuiyuan.com. But he never brought anything to him or his third father's house. My second father is right, my wife is not good at all, my eldest nephew Lin Wei agreed. You shut up, Lin, you scolded his son. Then we won't give it away, Lin's father thought for a moment and nodded. The old lady was sure to disappoint. Everyone eat. Lin Heng first picked a large piece of cake for his wife Shilan, and then smiled. When he moved his chopsticks, everyone couldn't help but move their chopsticks one after another. 3 pots of meat were finished in less than 10 minutes, and everyone hadn't eaten them for too long, so they couldn't help it. Lin Heng picked up half a bowl of meat for his wife, and even his sister La Lu Wan, who always likes to fuss, didn't dare to say a word because this thing was made by Lin Heng. There's too much, you have some to eat. Chen Xilan gave some to Lin Heng, and she felt that today was the happiest day since she got married. You eat, you have to breastfeed the child, and you have to work hard. Take good care of it, Lin Heng said without a doubt as he took it back. Chen Xiulan gave her mother some sandwiches, but was also rejected. Eat it yourself and see what you've lost. Lin's mother didn't scold Lin Heng tonight. She felt that Lin Heng had finally become a husband and knew how to love his wife. It's so delicious, if I could eat it every day, it would be so great. Lin Kaiyun licked her lips to relish the taste. Yes, Auntie, it's so delicious. After Lin Wei finished speaking, he looked at Lin Heng again and said, Second father, please teach me how to play slingshot. I also want to hunt prey for my family. Wait for time. Lin stretched lazily and picked up his daughter from his wife's arms. Everyone else was also smiling, and seeing Lin Heng's face improve a lot, it felt like today was celebrating the Chinese New Year. Chapter 9. I don't think you can't do it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After finishing her meal, Chen Xiulan prepared bath water for Lin Heng and said, Hurry up and wash it. I have all the clothes for you. After finishing speaking, she carried her daughter into the house. There was no bathroom at all now, she just used a basin to wash herself in the firewood room. This season is still a bit cold in the morning and evening, and Lin Heng is as cold as a cold bird. There were no lights in the room, only the light emanating from the stove. After quickly taking a shower, Lin Heng went out to use the restroom. It was only after 8 p.m. at night, but there was no light in the village anymore. There was no electricity, no entertainment facilities, and everyone slept very early. This is the countryside of the 1980s, poor and backward, where people worked tirelessly to fill their stomachs. Glancing at the starry sky above, the stars were dense and the Milky Way was visible from afar. Tomorrow will be another sunny day, Lin Heng sighed, trembling after using the restroom and returning to his bedroom. My wife Chen Xiulan has just finished making the bed, while my daughter Xiaoxia is still fidgeting on the bed, giggling foolishly and not sleeping. Leave it to me, Lin Heng nodded and went to bed to tease his daughter. Chen Xiulan nodded and took her clothes to the firewood shed to take a shower. The smell of the kerosene lamp in the room was a bit unpleasant, and the light was still dim. My daughter hugged Lin Heng's neck and chuckled foolishly. Sleep well, Dad will tell you fairy tales. Lin Heng placed her on the bed, playing the role of a big bad wolf while telling her the story of Little Red Riding Hood. The little girl naturally couldn't understand what he was talking about, but it didn't hinder her from sleeping. She played the role of a big bad wolf and whimpered for a while before the little one suddenly fell asleep and fell asleep. Placing his sleeping daughter in the bed against the wall, covering her with a blanket, Lin Heng looked at this familiar and unfamiliar little face with some emotion and melancholy. In this life, he must have a good life for the little one and have money to read and read. This inevitably reminded him of his immature son from the previous life. He must not have seen him in this life, and rebirth would definitely disrupt everything, but he felt there was no shame. That son is not as dedicated to his profession as he is, and he doesn't have much emotional attachment. It's the same for him to have a new one in this life. Did you put your daughter to sleep? Chen Xiulan walked in somewhat surprised after taking a shower. Yes, hurry up and rest, wife. Seeing Chen Xiulan emitting moisture on her body, Lin Heng instantly had the urge to create a person. Chen Xiulan's face turned red as she blew out the kerosene lamp and went to bed. As soon as she lay down, she felt a big hand embrace her. Be quiet and don't wake up your daughter, Chen Xiulan suddenly felt a bit shy today. Don't worry, it won't happen. Lin Heng chuckled and felt anxious like a monkey. He's so happy that he hasn't seen him for decades and has regained his youthful body. Happy for over half an hour before it ended, causing both of them to sweat profusely. How do you feel like you've changed people today? Chen Xiulan whispered, even doing that kind of thing is different from before. In the past, Lin Heng only cared about his own feelings and lay aside to sleep when he finished, completely ignoring her feelings, as if she was no different from a doll. Today is different, even though it's over, I still hold her tightly in my arms, and the techniques and movements make her very happy. Especially now being held like this makes her feel safer and warmer than ever before. I used to be such a jerk, but in the future, I will wholeheartedly treat you well, so that you can live a good life that everyone envies in your life, and let your family know that you are not with the wrong person. Lin Heng held his wife and whispered in her ear, pressing them together. He could feel her heart pounding. I owe too much in my previous life, and in this life I just want to make up for it with all my might. Chen Xilan was moved by these words and whispered to Lin Heng, as long as you live well with me, everything else is not important. Lin Heng was silenced by this sentence. She used to say it a lot in her previous life, but he had never heard of deceiving her and never treated her properly. Suddenly, Lin Heng picked up his wife and faced him. What are you doing? Before Chen Xilan could finish speaking, her mouth was blocked by Lin Heng. It was another 10 minutes, until both of them were exhausted. The next morning, just as dawn broke, Chen Xilan got up and held her awakened daughter to breastfeed. Lin Heng opened his eyes in a daze, ready to sit up, but felt his lower back weak and he lay down with a thud. Chen Xilan couldn't help but chuckle when she saw this scene. Lin Heng glared at his wife angrily and said, "You're still laughing, it's not all your fault. I didn't let you come 3 times in one night." Chen Xilan opened her big eyes and smiled unfairly. "I thought to myself that even though you were not controlling yourself, I reminded you and blamed me. It's not that you're too tempting." Lin Heng lay in bed feeling angry, feeling very happy. He had already missed her very much due to her rebirth, and his wife had a good figure, so he couldn't help but indulge himself too much. Chen Xilan's face turned red and she said, "Don't say that. My parents are so embarrassed to hear it." After breastfeeding the child and comforting her, her daughter fell asleep again. Chen Xilan was already overwhelmed by Lin Heng's gaze, so she quickly got dressed and got up. After a while, she came in again and brought Lin Heng a cup of tea. Lin Heng looked inside and found that there were actually kidney essence herbs and epimedium, 2 kidney tonifying herbs. Seeing Lin Heng's gaze, Chen Xilan quickly explained, "I was afraid you might hurt your body, so I didn't mean to think you couldn't do it." Lin Heng. What can I say? I silently took the tea and started drinking it. I secretly decided to exercise well and make my wife beg for mercy in the future. When Lin Heng got up, everyone also got up. Xilan and her mother Lu Hongmei were making breakfast, while the others were washing their faces. Lin Heng walked out of the yard, staring blankly at the heavy dew on the plants in the morning. In no time, he saw his sister Lin Kaiyun walking outside the vegetable garden with a large bundle of cowgrass on her back, holding a book in her hand, reading as she walked. After walking to the nearby cowshed, she put away her books and took out cowgrass to feed the cows. "Kaiyun, do you really want to read?" Lin Heng walked over and asked. Kaiyun glanced at Lin Heng and said, "Sensible, I'm just casually passing the time. I'm already 16 years old, so it's time to share the burden for my family." She said she didn't want to, but her eyes couldn't hide it. She only attended 6th grade and was supposed to enter junior high school this year, but her father Lin Suan no longer allowed her to attend. "I think it's useless for the girl to study so much, so it's better to go home and help with work, and find a good husband's family to marry in 2 years. This is pretty good. Many girls in the village are not allowed to study until they reach the 2nd or 3rd grade at Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Lin Heng knew that there was actually his own reason behind this. "I didn't have much work even though I was in my 2nd year of junior high, which made my father feel that studying was useless." In his previous life, Lin Heng also felt the same way, but after experiencing many things, he finally understood the benefits of reading. "Don't worry, I'll pay you to go to school in September. If you don't learn more knowledge, it will be difficult for you to turn over in your life." Lin Heng looked at his sister and said with a smile. Lin Xian's bright eyes flickered upon hearing these words, and then dimmed again. "Thank you, second brother. It's okay not to study. My family also needs my help." You have more money to give to Sister Shilan, she works very hard. She didn't quite believe that her second brother could have the money to make him go to school. After all, the least reliable person in the family was his second brother. Even if there is her, she is too embarrassed to ask. Sister Shilan is so hard-working, and the money should be given to her. The poor family made her dare not have such unrealistic thoughts. Everyone in the family worked very hard, and she didn't want to burden the family. Lin Heng fell silent for a moment and smiled. I will have a lot of money then. He still remembers how difficult his younger sister's life was in her previous life. The married husband not only enjoyed drinking, but also gambling, and even played tricks when he got drunk or lost gambling. Born before him, although he is idle, at least he doesn't gamble or go crazy, doesn't hit his wife, and can change his mistakes and repent. That beast is still gambling until his death, and his relatively wealthy family has been ruined. Kaiyun died of illness in bed, which was discovered by his neighbors. In this life, Lin Heng did not allow such a tragedy to happen again. He wanted his sister to study more and go to college. I believe in second brother. Kaiyun smiled slightly, but in fact, she had already lost any hope in her heart. Chapter 10. Wife wants to make a floor shop. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Breakfast is pickled Chinese cabbage pimple soup, also known as mixed soup. It tastes good. It is a kind of pasta often eaten in this era. It tastes good. After breakfast, my father looked at everyone, especially Lin Heng, and said, "This morning we are going to plant rice seedlings. We will plant all 9 acres of land in one day, and everyone will come." Kaiyun helped take care of the children with pig grass, while others went to the fields. After finishing this task, we are also ready to build a house. Lin Heng knew that this was something he was saying to himself, but he didn't refuse, which made his family feel a bit unbelievable. When he went out to pick up tools, his mother Lu Hongmei followed him back and forth, which made Lin Heng very helpless. "Mom, are you still afraid that I won't be able to run away?" "You've done this before." Lin Mu glanced at him. "Second dad, your slingshot." His eldest nephew Lin Wei handed the slingshot to Lin Heng and smiled, saying, "Second dad, you can teach me." "Sure, but your second father and I have to work." Lin Heng spread out his hand. "That's okay, I'll help you." Lin Wei, who is 5 years old, patted his chest and said. "Okay, let's go. Let me first explain to you how to take the taxi accurately." Lin Heng started talking to his eldest nephew with a backpack on his back, using all sorts of fanciful theories. His eldest nephew was stunned and his admiration for Lin Heng was beyond measure. "Lin Wei, come over here and don't disturb your second father's work." Sister-in-law Lu Wan suddenly shouted. "Mom, my second father didn't work." Lin Wei said wrongly. "Come here and take care of your brother. Do you want me to get a note?" Lu Wan roared and started looking for branches around. Lin Wei, who was afraid of his buttocks blooming, quickly returned to his mother's side and dared not say a word. Lin Heng shrugged and didn't say anything. He knew that his sister-in-law was afraid that his son and he would learn badly, and she didn't take her job seriously. Her sister-in-law is like this, and she manages her 3 sons very strictly. If she doesn't listen to her, she will beat her. She feels that all her actions are for the good of the child. Lin Heng walked over to help his wife hold her daughter and teach her how to speak, making the little one laugh. We arrived in the field soon, and the big brother had already pulled out the seedlings. The field had also been cleaned up a few days ago, and now all we need to do is transplant the seedlings. A family of 6 people working together at the same time is still very efficient. As soon as he finished farming, his father Lin Suen couldn't help but speak up. "Lin Heng, it's not as good as your eldest nephew planting a seedling neatly. Everyone else is horizontal and vertical, while Lin Heng's is a bit crooked and twisted. As long as you can live, that's fine." Lin Heng didn't care, burying his head in his own. "Why did Lin Suen give birth to such a child like you? Angry Lin Dad pulled his older brother to another field, and his obsessive-compulsive disorder made him unable to bear it and had to leave. One morning, when Lin Heng was washing his feet in a 4-mu field near the river, he rubbed his back and couldn't help roast. Farming is the most uneconomical thing in the world. He was already suffering from lower back pain, and I hooked my back and planted rice seedlings all morning, which really killed him. The rice in the 9-acre field is enough for his family to eat on their own, and it is still barely enough. There is no such thing as selling grain. Not to mention in this era, we still have to pay a portion of the grain tax every year, and it is impossible for farmers to become wealthy by farming. Keep your voice down, Dad will talk about you again when he hears it later, Chen Xiulan quickly reminded. After washing her feet, she helped Lin Heng massage her waist. Last night we all said we were going to plant rice seedlings today. Didn't you say it's okay? Now your back hurts. Xiulan sneered at Lin Heng and said sarcastically. Not to serve you. Before Lin Heng could finish speaking, he felt his wife staring at him and quickly smiled without saying anything. His wife had a thin skin and stopped teasing her. From then on, I'll lay on the floor to avoid some people blaming me. Chen Xiulan's kneading force increased a bit. Talking playfully. Lin Heng quickly begged for mercy. Then he directly changed the topic. Wife, how much money do we have in total now? As soon as he said these words, Chen Xiulan's face immediately became alert and she said, What are you doing? I'm planning to collect some mulberry yellow and store it. I have a premonition that the price of mulberry yellow will rise sharply from the end of the year, possibly doubling by 1 or 2. He remembered another thing this morning, which was that starting from August and September, Sanghuang has suddenly increased from 80 cents per kilogram to 3 yuan per kilogram, and other miscellaneous tree yellows can also be sold for 2 yuan per kilogram. Then most farmers started picking up, resulting in not seeing a single yellow tree on the mountain for the next 6 months. He plans to spend money to buy a large amount of mulberry and yellow, hoard them, and sell them again in August or September, so that he can have some money to start his own business. Relying on rushing to save money is indeed a bit too slow. Chen Xiulan didn't speak, obviously she didn't want to use the money like this. The money she saved was not easy, it was all the money she collected from picking mushrooms and herbs up the mountain and selling them, little by little she saved up. If her husband is sick, she can take it out without hesitation, but she cannot bear to do such a thing. What if we lose money? Isn't that all gone? Seeing his wife's expression, Lin Heng quickly changed his mind and said, It's okay, I'm just talking. Don't take it to heart. He carefully thought about it and realized that he shouldn't have. The money was all saved up by his wife as emergency money. What if his memory is unreliable? And this matter is not urgent. It's just the beginning of the 5th lunar month, and there are still 3 months left. He also understands his wife's feelings, which are actually the psychology of all farmers. He dare not take risks because there is no wrong cost. Once entrepreneurship and business fail, one faces a debt that may not be repaid for decades, and even the whole family cannot afford to pay for it. It can't be blamed that farmers lack entrepreneurial and business acumen, but they dare not gamble on the future of their entire family. Wife, what do you think this is? Lin Heng took out a stone from the water, and after the stone was removed, a 6-centimeter long stream stone spot appeared in his hand. How did you catch it? Chen Xiulan was taken aback, her husband still had this skill. Oh my goodness, second father, teach me, please teach me. My eldest nephew Lin Wei was stunned, and his admiration was written on his face. Second father not only hits the slingshot accurately, but also has such excellent fish-catching skills. He is simply the master he has been dreaming of. When I was a child, I caused a lot of trouble to the fish in this river, Lin Heng chuckled. When he was a child, he was skilled at catching fish, pounding stones with an iron hammer, breaking medicinal tree leaves and smashing them into venomous fish. He has done all of these before, and is still one of the best. So much so that, for a long time, there was a pitiful shortage of fish, shrimp, and crabs in the river, and it only gradually recovered in the past 2 years. Second Dad, let's grab a plate and go back and fry it to eat. My eldest nephew Lin Wei suggested. Let's give it a try. Lin Heng had no hope about it and was very skilled at catching fish with his bare hands. First, you need to set up a trap and drive the fish under a small stone. Then, slowly insert your hands together and block the front and rear entrances, leaving no gaps to catch the fish. It's simple to say, but Lin Heng also became proficient after playing for over a year as a child, and his skills are very strong. But since he learned how to practice, he has become the king of children and won the unanimous admiration of his friends. Oh, oh, oh. Lin Heng had just caught a fish when a painful scream came from behind.